Before we start the show, don't forget to check our new ebook, Kill All Bugs, Learn Software Testing in One Day. For a limited time, it's only $9.99. Links in description.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. You've probably heard the terms Agile, Scrum, Kanban. I mean, they're everywhere now,
Well,
right?
absolutely.
From tech companies, obviously. But now it seems like almost any team trying to get things done quickly and, well, effectively, it can feel like a lot of jargon.
It definitely can seem that way at first.
So today, we're aiming to cut through some of that noise. This deep dive, our mission, really, is to pull out the most important bits of knowledge from our sources, which is this extensive guide on Agile interview questions and answers. Think of it maybe as your shortcut to getting a real handle on Agile. Not just definitions, but understanding its power, its pitfalls too. We'll try to find some surprising facts, maybe keep it a little light.
And that's a great way to frame it because, while these concepts might sound super technical on the surface, their core principles are actually very human. They're about collaboration, about being adaptable, delivering actual value. So we're going to dig into not just what these terms mean, but maybe more importantly, why they matter so much today. Hopefully this dive gives you a much clearer picture, whether you're like prepping for a meeting, catching up on the field, or just plain curious about how modern teams work.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's dive straight in then, starting right at the beginning. What is Agile methodology? If you had to give the quick version.
The elevator pitch. Okay. Well, think of Agile less as a strict rule book and more as an approach, a philosophy for developing products.
Okay.
Instead of planning everything up front for some huge month-long project, Agile says, let's break it down. And you separate the project into tiny, manageable pieces. And the team works really closely with stakeholders, with clients. At every single stage, usually in short cycles, it's a continuous flow. Planning, doing, checking, adjusting.
Right.
And you release small working parts of the project frequently, building on feedback as you go.
So the key word there sounds like flexibility. Compared to the traditional waterfall method, what's the biggest, most immediate difference?
Yes. Flexibility versus rigidity. That's exactly it. In a classic waterfall project, you have to finish each whole phase before you even start the next one.
Like lockstep.
Exactly. Planning is done, then design is done, then development. It's very linear. Like building a house by finishing all the design, then laying all the foundation, then putting up all the walls.
And if you find a problem with the foundation when you're doing the roof...
You're in big trouble. Exactly. Yeah. It's expensive to fix. With Agile, though, the team can often work on different aspects, different phases, kind of simultaneously within each short cycle.
Okay.
And the really big difference is that constant feedback from customers and collaboration within the team is built into every cycle. Waterfall usually saves feedback until the very end, which can lead to, unwelcome surprises.
I see.
Oh, and testing, too. Agile testing happens alongside development, not just tacked on at the end, so you catch things much, much earlier.
That makes a huge difference, I imagine.
Right.
So it means no fixed requirements set in stone way back at the start. Issues get fixed in each, what they call a sprint or cycle.
Precisely.
Making it really iterative, adaptive. You focus on delivering something valuable quickly, even if it's just the basics first. And you use a lot of automation, maybe. It sounds like a total mindset shift.
It really is a fundamental shift.
Now, you said Agile is the approach, the philosophy.
Yeah.
But Scrum is often mentioned in the same breath. How does Scrum fit in? Is it like the most popular way to do Agile?
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Agile is the umbrella, the set of values and principles. Scrum is a specific framework, a concrete implementation of those Agile principles.
Okay.
So Agile tells you what you're aiming for, being adaptive, collaborative, delivering fast. Scrum gives you how a specific set of roles, events, artifacts to make that happen. It's the procedure you follow, delivering something tangible after each sprint.
Got it. And speaking of procedure, who are the essential players on a Scrum team? What roles are absolutely crucial?
Right, the roles. There are 3 core ones, and understanding them is key. First, you've got the product owner.
Okay, the PO.
Yep. They're essentially the voice of the customer. They understand the market demands, figure out what features the product needs, prioritize them, and really own the vision for maximizing the return on investment, the ROI.
So more than just gathering requirements.
Oh, much more. They're a strategist, making tough calls on what gets built and when. A common mistake is thinking they just manage a list.
Interesting. Okay, who's next?
Next up is the Scrum Master. Now, this role is often misunderstood. They aren't a traditional project manager.
Right, not the boss.
Definitely not the boss. Think servant leader. They guide the team on how to use Agile and Scrum effectively, protect the team from outside distractions or interruptions, and help the product owner too. Their main job is removing obstacles, coaching the team to become self-managing.
Okay, that's a cool role. And the third?
And finally, you have the Scrum team itself. This is the group of people, developers, testers, designers, whoever's needed who actually build the product. They work under the Scrum Master's guidance, taking the requirements from the backlog and turning them into a finished increment.
And they're cross-functional, right?
Ideally, yes. Cross-functional and self-organizing. The pitfall here is seeing them just as people who execute tasks. They're supposed to be empowered problem solvers who collectively own the delivery of the work.
I like that distinction. Empowered problem solvers. Okay, so these roles work together, and they produce things called artifacts. What are these artifacts, and why are they important?
Good question. The artifacts provide transparency. They make the work visible. First is the product backlog.
Right.
This is the big list. It's dynamic, constantly changing, and it contains everything the product might need: features, fixes, changes, ideas. It's owned by the product owner. It's the roadmap for the product's entire future, essentially.
The master list. Got it.
Then, for each sprint, the team pulls items from the product backlog into the sprint backlog.
Ah, okay. A subset.
Exactly. It's the plan for that specific sprint, the list of tasks the team commits to completing in that short cycle. This is owned by the Scrum team. It shows everyone what they're focused on right now.
Okay, makes sense. And the last one.
The third is the product increment. This is the actual usable piece of software or whatever the product is that's delivered at the end of a sprint. It includes all the work completed in that sprint, plus the value from all previous sprints.
So it's the tangible result.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's the potentially shippable piece of new functionality. It's the proof that real progress is being made.
Right, roles, artifacts. Now this is where it gets really practical for anyone managing things. How do you actually track progress? You mentioned Agile uses tools like burn up and burn down charts. What's the difference there?
Yeah, these charts are vital for keeping track and forecasting. A burn-up chart shows the amount of work completed over time. The line goes up.
Upwards, okay.
It's good for seeing cumulative progress. And interestingly, it can also help you spot scope creep, because you might see the total scope line also moving up if new things are being added.
I see. And the burn down.
The burn down chart shows the remaining work. So its line trends downwards as the team completes tasks.
Down towards zero, ideally.
Ideally, yes. What's crucial here is watching the pattern. If that burn down line suddenly flattens out for a few days, it's a warning sign. It could mean there's a blocker, a hidden problem, something stopping progress that needs looking into.
This is an early warning system.
Exactly. And you can have different types: project burn downs, sprint burn downs, even defect burn downs, each giving a specific view of what's left to tackle.
So it's not just about looking at the numbers, but interpreting the trends.
Okay.
Building on that, what about sprint velocity? How's that calculated, and what does it really tell a team?
Right, velocity. It measures how much work, typically measured in story points, which estimate effort a team usually completes in a single sprint. You calculate it by looking at the total story points finished in recent sprints and finding the average. But the real power isn't just the number itself. Trying to make it go higher isn't the point. No, the value is in its consistency. A stable, predictable velocity lets the team make more reliable forecasts about how much work they can realistically take on in future sprints. That's gold for planning.
Ah, okay. So it's about predictability, not just speed. And it's a team measure, right? Not for individuals.
Absolutely critical point. It's a measure of team capacity, never individual performance. Using it that way is a common mistake and can be really damaging to morale.
Good to know. Okay, predictability helps. But what about keeping the project focused? Every project leader dreads scope creep, those sneaky, uncontrolled changes that just get added in. How does Agile help fight that?
Scope creep, the silent killer. Agile has some built-in defenses. Those short sprints act as natural barriers. New scope generally has to wait for the next sprint planning.
Right, you can't just throw it in mid-sprint.
Exactly. Plus the constant communication, the daily stand-ups, the sprint reviews, they all help keep everyone aligned on the current goals. There's also a focus on avoiding gold plating.
Gold plating.
Yeah, adding extra features or polish that wasn't actually asked for or needed. And crucially, any significant change should go through the product owner, who manages that product backlog and assesses the impact.
So vigilance and clear ownership.
Pretty much. And, scope creep is just one example of what Scrum calls an impediment.
An impediment. Okay.
Yeah, basically anything that blocks the team or slows them down from reaching their sprint goal. Could be technical, like a server being down, could be organizational, like waiting for a decision, would be a resource issue,
Wow.
or even lack of management support sometimes.
And dealing with those is the Scrum Master's job.
A huge part of it, yes. Identifying impediments and helping the team remove them is a primary function of the Scrum Master role, keeping the path clear so the team can focus.
Right. Removing roadblocks. Okay, so Agile clearly impacts development, but it also changes testing pretty fundamentally, doesn't it? What's different about Agile testing?
It's a total shift. Traditionally, testing was a separate phase that happened after all the coding was done.
Yeah, throw it over the wall to QA.
Exactly. In Agile, testing is integrated. It happens simultaneously with development within the same sprint. Testers work alongside developers from the very beginning.
Wow, okay.
They break down features into small, testable user stories. It means you're incorporating user needs and quality checks right from the start. Bugs get found and fixed much, much faster when they're cheaper to fix.
So it's proactive, not reactive.
Precisely. It's all driving towards customer satisfaction, being open to changes, constant collaboration, and continuous improvement baked into the whole process.
That makes a lot of sense. But with all this rapid change and iteration, how do you stop the code itself from becoming, a complete mess over time? What's refactoring?
Ah, yes, refactoring. This is critical for long-term health. Refactoring is the process of cleaning up and improving the internal structure of the code without changing its external behavior.
Okay, so the user doesn't see a difference.
Correct. From the outside, the feature works exactly the same. But internally, the code is made cleaner, simpler, easier to understand, more efficient, easier to maintain.
Like tidying up the wiring behind the walls.
Perfect analogy. You're improving the foundations. If you don't do this regularly in Agile, you accumulate technical debt, messy code that gets harder and harder to work with, slowing everything down later. Refactoring is paying down that debt.
Got it. Okay, another pair of terms that often sound similar. Incremental versus iterative development. Can you break those down?
Yeah, they're related but distinct. Incremental development is about building the product piece by piece. You deliver small functional chunks, adding new features with each release or increment.
Like building with Lego bricks, adding a new section each time.
Kind of, yeah. You deliver a working skateboard, then add an engine to make a go-kart, then add a steering wheel, incrementally building up the features.
Okay. And iterative.
Iterative development is more about cycles of refinement. You might build a basic version of a feature, then in the next cycle, iteration, you revisit it, improve it based on feedback, test it again, refine it further.
So improving what's already there.
Exactly. Using the car idea, maybe you deliver a basic car first. Then, in the next iteration, you improve the engine. The iteration after that, you improve the suspension. You're cycling through, making it better each time.
So incremental adds new stuff, iterative refines existing stuff.
That's a good shorthand. And in practice, most Agile development uses a combination of both. You incrementally add new features and you iteratively refine them.
Right, that makes sense. So given all this, when is Agile really the best approach? What kind of projects use Agile?
Agile really shines when requirements are expected to change or aren't fully known up front.
Okay, uncertainty.
Yeah, uncertainty and change. It's great for projects with short time frames where you need to deliver value quickly. Anything needing high adaptability, lots of iteration. It's often used for developing new products where you'll learn as you go.
And companies use it because?
The big drivers are usually faster time to market, getting a return on investment sooner, aiming for higher product quality through constant feedback, reducing project risk, increasing flexibility, and ultimately better customer satisfaction because they're involved throughout.
Okay. Sounds pretty compelling, but it can't be perfect for everything, right?
Yeah.
When should a team maybe pause and think, maybe Agile isn't the right fit here?
Absolutely. It's not a silver bullet. Agile might struggle if the requirements are truly fixed, inflexible, and can't be broken down into small pieces.
Right. Or if the customer isn't available.
Big one. If you can't get that regular customer feedback, a core pillar of Agile is missing. Also, if the team isn't experienced or empowered enough for self-organization, it can be difficult.
What are the potential downsides people mention?
Well, sometimes there's a perception of less formal documentation, which can be an issue in some regulated environments if not managed well. Accurately predicting the total time and cost upfront can be harder than with Waterfall because the scope is expected to evolve.
Less predictable outcome initially.
Can feel that way, yes. And for really simple, small, unchanging projects, the overhead of Scrum ceremonies might be overkill. It could even end up being more expensive than a simpler approach if not implemented wisely.
That's a really important reality check. But you mentioned costs. Can Agile actually save money in some way?
Yes, definitely. By focusing relentlessly on prioritizing work that delivers the most business value first, you avoid wasting time on features that nobody actually needs.
Right, less waste.
Less waste. And often, teams produce just enough documentation to get the job done, rather than massive specs that nobody reads, which also saves effort. It's about lean efficiency.
Efficiency over volume. Got it. Now, we've talked a lot about Scrum. Are there other major Agile tools or methods people should know about?
Oh, for sure. Kanban is another very popular Agile method. It's less structured around fixed sprints and more focused on visualizing workflow and limiting work in progress to create a smooth, continuous flow.
Visualizing work, like on a board.
Exactly, the classic Kanban board with columns like to do, in progress, done. It's often used to improve an existing process with minimal disruption, whereas Scrum often involves more significant process change.
Okay. And I've heard of Scrumban.
Yep, that's a hybrid. It takes the structure, like the roles and regular meetings from Scrum, but uses Kanban's visual flow management and pull system. Best of both worlds for some teams.
Interesting mix. So teams have options. How do they typically handle the very beginning of a project or estimate really tricky, unknown tasks in Agile?
Good question. For starting up, sometimes teams use something called Sprint Zero. It's not an official Scrum sprint delivering product features, but more like a short initial phase to do setup work.
Like groundwork.
Exactly. Setting up tools, doing initial research, maybe creating a high-level backlog and architecture outline, just enough to get the real Sprint 1 ready to go smoothly.
Okay. And for those really uncertain tasks?
That's where a spike comes in. A spike is basically a time-boxed research task. It's a user story specifically designed to investigate something unknown, maybe a technical challenge, or how long a complex feature might really take.
So a task just for learning.
Pretty much. The output isn't working software, it's knowledge. It helps reduce uncertainty and risk before the team commits to building the actual feature, provides visibility.
That sounds incredibly useful.
Yep.
What about mapping out user needs?
User story mapping is great for that. It's a visual technique where you arrange user stories along two dimensions, maybe time or priority versus complexity. It helps everyone see the big picture, understand the user journey, and prioritize what delivers the most value earliest.
Nice. And estimation. Any cool
Yeah.
techniques there?
Oh, yeah. Planning poker, also
Poker.
called Scrum Poker. It's a consensus-based estimation technique.
Poker.
Yeah. The product owner explains a user story, then everyone on the team privately chooses a card with a number representing effort, usually story points from a sequence like Fibonacci.
Okay.
Then everyone reveals their card at the same time. If the numbers are close, great. If they're far apart, the people with the highest and lowest estimates explain their reasoning, you discuss, then vote again, repeating until you reach a consensus.
So it avoids people just agreeing with the first person who speaks.
Exactly. It leverages the whole team's knowledge and leads to better, more collaborative estimates. It's actually quite effective and, dare I say, fun.
That does sound better than just guessing. Okay, one last area.
Yeah.
What about really big projects? Multiple teams, complex products. How does Agile scale up?
That's where scaling frameworks come in. The most well-known is probably SAFe, the Scaled Agile Framework.
Okay.
It's basically a whole set of principles, practices, and organizational structures designed to help large enterprises apply Agile, Lean, Scrum, Kanban across many, many teams working on the same solution. It addresses coordination, planning, and delivery at scale.
So it provides structure for large-scale agility.
That's the goal, yes. There are other scaling frameworks too, like Lesses or Nexus, but SAFe is very widely adopted in large organizations.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground today. Seriously. From the core idea of Agile, deep into Scrum Roles and artifacts, tracking with burn charts, tackling scope creep, and then all these advanced techniques like spikes, planning poker, even scaling with SAFe.
We really did.
It's clear that Agile is all about that adaptability, the collaboration, the constant improvement loop. It feels incredibly relevant for how work gets done now.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is that these core ideas, embracing change, getting feedback constantly, improving in small steps, they aren't just for software teams.
Right.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, maybe for you, the listener. How could you apply the spirit of Agile, even just one small principle, to your own work or your personal projects, or even just dealing with everyday uncertainty?
That's a great question to ponder. We really hope this deep dive gave you a clearer picture, maybe sparked a few aha moments about Agile. Hopefully it encourages you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep learning.
Hey, yo, haven't you checked out our new book yet? Link in description.